Hello everyone, good morning. I'm Harsh, an MBA student at XLRI Jamshedpur, and today it is my absolute privilege to be talking to someone whose journey is all about reinvention and technology-led transformation. Joining us today is Mr. Vadish, who is the founder and CEO of Algoshack, which is an AI-driven software innovation company. He's someone who's led global teams for the last 3 decades, and he's today reinventing what software is built, how it's built, and how it's tested using AI. So we are really privileged to have you, sir, and welcome to XLRI Jamshedpur.
Thank you very much.
How has your experience at XLRI been so far, sir?
It's been wonderful. In the first place, I had enough opportunity to interact with the other panelists because we arrived, one night prior. That was great. It is good to know people before you really get into the conversation. And the kind of questions, they are very intriguing. The conversation has been very wonderful so far. And that's what I enjoy the most.
Right.
Thank you. And thank you for this opportunity as well.
Sure, sir. So I was just hoping that we'll basically start this sort of a podcast with a fun segment where I'll be asking you a few questions, and I would sort of expect answers maybe in a couple of words or maybe in a single line without entering into specificities. Right?
Yes.
So I'll basically start with the first question. So what is the biggest myth about startups that you want to debunk?
I think people think startup is all about frills. It's about valuation. It's about making money. But I think in reality, there is a lot of hard work that goes behind it. So, that's my take.
Right, sir. So my question here, a follow-up question would be that we often sort of know that, startup is all about, building those connections, getting those investments, pivoting, doing a lot of things which is considered to be non-conventional. So when you say hard work, what exactly do you mean? Do you mean sort of pivoting from the original idea, or maybe drilling deep into your domain expertise? What exactly do you mean by hard work?
When I say hard work, I mean non-stop work. I mean, for the past 8 years, I spend all my time, productive time, for Algoshack. Be it Saturdays, be it Sundays. Not that I don't go out at all. Occasionally, when I need to. When there is a real compulsion, I spend time outside of work, but otherwise most of the time goes for Algoshack. And this is true with many founders, to the best of my knowledge. You can't build something ground up. You can't create something without having to spend that kind of cycles, in my view.
Right. So it wouldn't be wrong to sort of say that a startup is someone's actually second spouse in that.
Absolutely. And it's your baby. I mean, you see to it that it grows, right? Absolutely.
Right. So with that, I'll move to the second question. So what is that one skill you value today, but you were probably, not very adamant about when you were in your 20s?
I'm not sure if I was so focused on presentation skills. I was so focused on selling, storytelling. I think I did have, some of those skills, but they were dormant. I think I focused on them probably in my late 20s and then onwards, I think.
This is a very imperative question, sir, because I think even I have this doubt, when at this age people talk about improving your content, and skills in order to deliver what actually matters. How important do you think storytelling actually is? And do you really think that it creates a significant difference or an impact between, two firms or two founders?
Absolutely. I think you're able to connect with customers, stakeholders, only when you're able to tell the story with the conviction. For example, someone said their vision was to save lives, to save millions and millions of lives. the minute you say this and you tell the story, I think there is empathy. It is all inclusive. You actually connect,
right,
and more easily. So there is a lot of simplicity in that,
right,
and authenticity.
right.
They are very important in my view.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
A lot of what you said now makes sense. That storytelling isn't just about creating a narrative; it's actually about connecting with people
Absolutely.
and building a brand image for the company.
Absolutely. That establishes credibility.
Right.
People see empathy in you,
right,
in what you're working for. Right. So,
makes sense.
yeah.
Thank you so much. The next question would be, if not tech, what career would you be in? Because I feel that in today's world, tech is the buzzword. Everyone wants to get into tech.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't tech for you, what field would you have been in? What is it that interests you apart from tech?
Honestly, during my childhood, when I saw a driver, I wanted to, learn driving.
Right.
When I saw a bank clerk, I wanted to be one. But if you ask me, I think my real interest is in teaching.
Okay.
I hope I would go back to teaching at some point in time. So if I wasn't into tech, possibly I would have gone into teaching.
That's very interesting, sir. That's a very noble thought, in fact, I would say, because I've seen not a lot of people who's actually into the industry and have hands-on experience, have this ambition of going back to teaching. I think if you're able to do that, that will be really helpful for society, the Indian society in general, because we get to learn a lot from your experience, and which is why we have these sessions.
I mean, to give back,
right.
We won't be able to give back to those that we collected from, for all right? From our seniors, from our elders. So the only way is to, pass it on, right? And yes, hopefully I get to do it at some point in time.
And we hope that too as well. So that's a very noble thought. Thank you. So next, I think we'll get to a more elaborate set of questions where, I'd like you to sort of dig deep into your thinking process, so that we are able to understand how you think as an entrepreneur, right?
Sure.
The first question is, I was doing some research about your background.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting to see that, you began your journey in a Kannada medium school.
Yes.
And it is very different, and the tags that you hold is very different from a typical entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So looking back, what mindset or habits you think helped you break through those invisible ceilings early on in life?
Yeah. So I think I didn't have the kind of information. I was not as informed as the youth today are, in my view. For example, when I was in my 12th, all I dreamt was to write CET exam and get into engineering. There wasn't enough information. There wasn't much coaching available for writing JE, for example. And from my school, we called it a college then, only 2 people went to engineering. And that's the reality. And this is back in 1986. So I think I wasn't well informed. I mean, for whatever reason, we came from lower middle class background, came from places that are not really the modern towns, not a village, but then there wasn't enough information available, not much people to direct you. I'm not saying I didn't have any support at all. I mean, there have been enough support. I'm very thankful to my teachers then. So with the limited information, to the extent I knew, whatever I could see in the horizon, I tried to excel. I'll give you some simple examples. So I was in a high school in my village, and you go there for your 8th, 9th and 10th, and each year for the topper, they would, give 80 rupees, 100 rupees and 120 rupees. 8th is 80 and 10th is 120.
Okay.
And it was very important for me to achieve that.
Okay. Okay.
So to the extent I was informed, I went after.
Right.
What I didn't know, I didn't know. So this is how the journey went. So I tried to make best out of the opportunities that I have had.
Right. Right.
And the system supported me in very many ways. I had the opportunity to work with Dr. UN Sinha at National Aerospace Laboratories.
Right. Yeah.
He was a pioneer in supercomputing, parallel computing.
Right.
I had the opportunity to work with Dr. UN Sinha. So whatever presented to me, I think I excelled at that, and I had the opportunity to publish a paper in a national journal back in 1996 and things like that. So even today, I say the same. I mean, show up daily, do your best for the day, and retire for the day with no regrets. Get up next day morning and pursue.
Right.
Keep doing it and do the right thing and do it the right manner.
Makes
Continue consistently, time and over again. Your credibility also builds.
Makes sense. So I think
So,
one thing that is very pertinent is the fact that you had strong emphasis on values. I think that also sort of helped you, is what I feel, excel in the later half of your life as well.
that's quite possible. Even today at Algoshack, we talk about clear being our core values. C for client focus, L for leadership, E for execution excellence, A for aspiration, R for results. And we believe underneath this is strong foundation of integrity. Integrity even when it hurts.
Right.
And and this has been the framework for decision making as well for us. There have been times when we had to make a choice between legality and ethics, and we picked ethics over legality.
Right.
Legally you might be right, but ethically are you correct?
Right. Right.
So this is how we are pursued. Possibly yes.
It's great to be talking to a man who sort of prioritizes ethics over business. So it's my honor that way as well, sir.
I'll give you also another reason why there has been so much of emphasis on integrity in my career. My early years, not the first one, I think the second or the third one, third company was Wipro. And Wipro in those days, when I left Wipro in 2003, Wipro was about 13,000 people.
Okay.
Today, you have...
The number is much larger.
Yeah, probably 10 times or 20 times larger. Yeah. It was a smaller company, and we had the opportunity, I had the privilege of being part of Wipro Leaders Program, where Premji himself would come and deliver a session, half-day session. Premji always talked about integrity and ethics. And there are many case studies of Wipro that are hinged on integrity. So that also I think has had significant impact on me.
That sort of helped you build your foundation. Absolutely. As a person, stronger. As a professional. Yeah.
True.
Good to know, sir. I'll move on to the second question. Again, it was very sort of interesting to know that you worked across industries and diverse industries for that matter, be it telecom, automobile, healthcare, IT, even embedded systems. So what has enabled you to reinvent yourself across such diverse domains?
Yeah, first of all, I see something common.
Okay.
When I when I moved from parallel computing to real-time automotive control systems, there was something common.
Okay.
All embedded systems. When I moved from real-time automotive control systems to telecom, again, it was all embedded systems. And then when I moved from telecom to healthcare, there is communication that is common. And when I say communication, I'm talking about protocols. Just as you have SS7 protocols, protocol in the context of telecommunication, you have HL7 in the context of healthcare, and there are many more, and ICOM and so on. So if you see the way you code, it's common. If you see the way you manage code repository is common.
Right.
There are many things that are common. And not that I switched very often. I have spent enough time to learn that domain before I moved on to another. So it helped me leverage telecom best practices in healthcare.
Right.
And I think I also carried this beginner's mindset, which I carry even today. I mean, I'm okay to work with people who come out of college. I'm talking about people with no
experience at all. Right.
And that's because I see an opportunity. I see them as adults. There are times when it is a strength. There are times when it is not so great a strength. There are people who could feel intimidated, but then I think that beginner's mindset also, has helped me carry myself across industry domains. Even otherwise today, being CEO of Algoshack, I must talk to people in the med devices world. I must talk to people in digital commerce, in banking, in enterprise software, in third-party logistics. It's not easy to connect, with those, executive decision makers if you don't understand and empathize with their domain.
Right.
To me, every domain is unique, and people in those domains also think they are very unique. If you're talking to an engineering VP who handles CT scanner, he expects you to talk about CT. He will not even appreciate if you talk about MRI.
Right.
So each division, each product line is so unique, and ability to appreciate. I'm able to draw that strength from having worked across industry segments, and I believe in focusing on the domain, solving the domain problem, and not leaving a solution as a horizontal solution without any domain layer. I mean, I always believed, I continue to believe that you have to have domain layer on top of your solution. Any horizontal solution can't really cut.
Right. But whatever little experience that I have of the industry, I completely second that. I feel that bringing in the best of all the worlds and applying it to a particular industry, that always helps, and that is what sort of brings that spark or that innovation in a particular industry is what I feel.
Absolutely.
Moving on to the third question, there was this one interesting quote that I read about you, which was, "The obvious doesn't work. You might just be hitting a glass window." So can you share a moment in your career when you had to sort of stop, rethink, and even pivot instead of pushing harder towards that one direction that you were moving in?
Yeah, thank you. I think you have done some research already. Thanks so much. In fact, this is one of the reasons why we started with Algoshack.
Okay.
There was a time when I was working for a services company, and one of my customers was from medical devices space.
Okay.
And we were automating testing for the medical devices company. It would take forever to automate 100 test cases. 12 people worked for an year. We still couldn't get 100 test cases working seamlessly in what we call CI/CD, continuous testing environment, catching defects, right? So I said, okay, this is not going to work. If in the digital era where products are refreshed so quickly, if testing takes so long, then this is not going to work. How do I help, cut down on time to market? And that is the reason why we started with Algoshack.
Right.
And that is why we have Algo QA today.
Okay. So in that process, I think you also sort of answered my next question. I sort of wanted to understand what was that spark or a deep reason or frustration that sort of led you to enter that entrepreneurial journey as well.
So instead of offering a Chinese menu, I certainly wanted to offer something very specific, niche, that solves some specific problem that I really can talk about, that I can illustrate with the return on investment, right? And that's the reason why we started with Algoshack and Algo QA. It's not so much of push factor, I would say. It is so much of pull factor. This is a very pertinent problem in the industry. How do I solve this problem? Having worked for the industry 28 years, how do I help the industry in the true sense? Even if the impact is limited, if I can start, then the ripple effect would continue. So that is how we started with Algoshack and Algo QA.
So I'm a little curious, and if I may ask, so what's the vision like? Do you plan to sort of stay in your domain and drill deeper, or do you sort of plan to also diversify in future and maybe provide other solutions apart from automation and sort of testing of software and building of software using AI?
Yeah, so initially we thought we would go beyond QA and automation.
Right.
But now we believe that there is so much to do in QA and automation.
Okay.
It is best that we remain very focused on that domain and create deeper impact in the identified segments. I mean, even if it means we don't go into very many verticals, even if you are able to solve test automation challenge for a fewer verticals meaningfully, that would help the industry. And there is so much to do. It's very easier to talk about test automation than getting it done. It's not a very simple problem. Many biggies have failed at it. There are many consulting companies, many software services companies have failed at that. It's not really about testing just the visuals or UI part. You have to go beyond that. How to automate testing of the likes of restart process, reboot process, or backup and restore process. And it's never limited to one application. It's all about end-to-end journey, user journey. So I believe there is so much to do. And how do you handle when there is hardware interaction, right? For example, in ECG, you have to connect the probes to the human body, right? Now, how to connect probes to the human body to test? Things like this, right?
It's a very interesting use case, by the way.
Yeah, so like this, I mean, there are solutions. I mean, I gave one probably more tactical example, but there are many, many more such examples. So only when you are able to solve these challenges, you can really have meaningful impact. And ultimately, you're dealing with products that deal with lives.
Correct. Yes.
So clinical qualities
Has
very
to be
important.
very high. Yeah.
It's not just about X-ray. It is not just about MRI. It is also about cath lab, where you know, the use cases revolve around replacing heart valve, and so it gets
Right.
a little bit invasive.
Right.
So clinical quality is very critical.
Yeah. That
And
absolutely
I
makes
just
sense.
gave the example from one domain.
Yeah.
If I talk about banking, I can give similar
Right.
examples from that domain. I can give similar examples
So I think
from
your focus as of now is sort of to foolproof the
in
processes.
a few identified
Right.
verticals.
Right.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
solve
Right.
test automation in the true sense,
Yeah.
than going broader.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure DevOps is an adjacency. And yesterday during dinner, we were talking about a review from FDA, how that can be used to fix a piece of code, update test cases, and also update documentation. All that is possible. They're quite adjacent to what we do. We may go there, but certainly not beyond. We'll remain focused on the real problem that we have.
Yeah, and with the examples that you shared with me, and I feel there are ample opportunities and ample sort of use cases to solve as well, even within just the QA space. So that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
With that, I'll move to the next question actually. So you've basically led both enterprise teams and startup teams as well. And both require completely different muscles.
Yes.
So what's that one leadership lesson that has stayed constant for you across both the worlds, which are in contrast to each other, but obviously I hope, and I'm pretty sure there is some commonality between these two worlds.
Yeah. So, when we started with Algoshack, I had to unlearn quite a bit, to be very honest. In the beginning itself, we said if we are not able to leverage at that point in time millennials, centennials, and Gen Z now, we will not succeed, because for you to be able to innovate, you have to tap into the younger population.
Right.
So we couldn't have the same structure that we have had back in those corporate roles, right? And that is the reason why we also picked up a co-working space that offered bean bags. There was no formal seating. That offered continental food to attract talent. And that also helped us shed some baggage. That environment, the initial 2 years until COVID stuck, in those 2 years, we shed quite a bit of baggage. But then what has remained all the way through is, I think, resilience. I mean, the ability to show up daily, discipline. Don't get defeated even before. I mean, there are people who get disheartened as they approach things, right? I mean, so I tell people, don't fail even before you start. Have that courage to approach things.
To show up and put a fight.
Yeah, it's not absence of fear. I think you will have all kinds of questions and worries in the back of your mind, but I think how you approach your day-to-day work, I think that has remained the same.
Question that I now have at the back of my mind is, you've seen India across two different eras, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my parents tell me about how, the likes of Infosys, Wipro, they were big thing. They were big giants back then. And all people wanted to do was become a part of these corporates.
Yeah.
So you've seen that change or that shift.
Yeah.
So do you really think, and how do you think India has changed, and how does helping people change that mindset from, just wanting to work for that big corporate to now starting up things on their own? Do you think India has changed that way?
I think India has changed.
Hmm.
I mean, in the last 10, 15 years, I think there have been more startups
Right.
Than before. I think there is an ecosystem that is building up. I won't say that it is ready or as matured as it is in the
Absolutely.
Silicon Valley,
Absolutely.
but I think the ecosystem is maturing.
Right.
The experience that I have here, for example, at XLRI, the kind of questions that you are raising, they're very intriguing, and the conversation that we have, that makes me believe that we are changing big time.
Right.
And to your point, I have seen significant change in the tech space and otherwise also. I used to write letters,
Right. Right.
inland letters and postcards. I have seen World Wide Web show up, right? It wasn't there when I started.
Right.
I mean, computers were there, computer science was there, but I'm just
The applications were pretty different.
Yeah. So there were no soft switches. We had PBXs and class 5 switches, all physical devices. And then it all changed to soft switches. Many companies have perished
Right.
in this process.
Right.
Many companies.
Right.
I've seen huge change. I've seen email coming in. Of course, today probably it's all WhatsApp, and there are other media. Probably email is not as popular as it was at one point in time. It is still the channel for formal communication, I think. There has been significant change, and India has adopted to these trends fairly well, in my view. For example, UPI. The way it is adopted in India, I don't think that is the case elsewhere in the Western world. I think we are changing. A lot more could change. The things being talked about, probably not practiced in its spirit. Those things could change. Some of the schemes, I wouldn't go in detail, but I think as a country, I think we are changing much faster.
Right. So I think I have a last couple of questions. One is a follow-up to what you just mentioned. We see a lot of startups coming up these days.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the reason for that? Is it the system supporting such initiatives more, or is it about the change in mindset of people in general, or because we as a society have become more progressive and affluent in that sense? Is it that, or is it the system supporting building of new startups and things of that sort? What do you think is the actual reason?
I think we are part of a global community today. I think what is happening elsewhere is impacting us. And second, we are possibly, there is at least some population that is willing to take risk.
Right.
It could be those who are in their 20s, 30s, or it could be those who are in their 40s.
Right.
Even now, I think after 50, those who start up are probably less than 5%.
Right.
I think it is primarily the mindset that is changing big time.
Right.
Earlier, people looked for stable jobs. And someone said in Bihar, people wanted to be IAS officers, right? And you would retire as an IAS officer. You probably wouldn't change job in the past. If you're into a stable job, probably you wouldn't switch. That's not true anymore.
Right.
People are okay to take a break, sit up, think, and do something very creative. So that's a mindset shift in my view.
That's very aptly put. In fact, even my father, he's worked for like 35 years in this one company. So yeah, that's very aptly put. But in my personal view, I feel that this change is also a result of, I think, Indian society becoming very ambitious as well. With the kind of access that we have to information of outside India, I feel that Indians have become very ambitious. They want to do something meaningful.
Absolutely.
They want to progress as individuals and as societies as well. I think that is helping us a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And this one last question that I have, sir, since you are here and we have this opportunity, so what do you think young professionals, and especially people like us who are studying in MBA colleges, what do we underestimate the most about careers in tech and entrepreneurship, and what is it that we should do to be able to make meaningful impact in the coming years or in the future?
Yeah, I'm not sure if people underestimate, but there are enough challenges. I mean, if you want to build something on your own, there are enough challenges that would come your way. However much you are prepared, it's not a bed of roses.
Right.
I don't think people underestimate this part, but I think it is good to be aware. Because what people see is only success.
Correct. Yeah.
And what they don't see is underlying hardships.
Right.
That is never told. I mean, before you make it, you would have had enough failures. You would have had near-death experiences. I think it is important that people know that it is not the way it appears.
Right.
You only see that shiny piece.
Right. I agree with the fact. I think in most of the avenues, I think it's not usually as easy and glamorous as it appears to be from the outside.
Yes.
When you're into the fight, and you have that sword with you, you realize that it's all bloodbath everywhere.
Yeah,
and you have to fight through it all.
And people in the company too won't know. I mean, I keep telling my people, when the pilot awards mishap, no one would know.
Okay.
So this part is untold, right? No one talks about it, unfortunately. So I think that's what one should be. You will not know what kind of challenge would come. It is very important to be very prudent. One has to understand all aspects of business. It's not just about tech. It is not just about sales. It's about contracting as well.
Right.
It's about legality as well.
Right.
It's about understanding compliances as well.
Right.
It's about labor laws as well. There are many, and very, very importantly, financial management.
Right.
And that's not easy.
Yeah.
You have a lot of temptation. Once you give in, probably you will not be able to track back.
Right.
And that could become a trap. So, some of these, no data will tell you, I think. Because your visibility is only a few meters, many a times.
Right.
Your visibility is not 100 meters. Your visibility is probably 10 meters, 20 meters. And so you will not be able to, you can't wait for data to tell you at times. It is all gut based. It is all instinctive.
Right.
So you have to train yourself likewise.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think from what I understand, I think it's mostly about setting aside your ego, having the courage to sort of unlearn and relearn the real stuff, and being intuitive about decision making.
I mean, see, as a founder, ego is something that you have to leave aside. It's easier said than done. I mean, we all have egos, but if you let it come in the way, right, that's when the trouble begins.
Right. All right. It was really an interesting conversation, sir. I hope that we had a little more time so that we could discuss more things in detail, but I surely hope to catch up with you offline as well. But today, thank you so much for your time and I hope you had a great time here at XLRI, and I really hope that we can have an elaborate chat again sometime in future. Thank you so much.
Look
Thank
forward
you.
to staying connected.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.